So our next presenters are Neil and Nicole Peterson. They own River Falls Ranch in St. Hilaire, Minnesota. They are third and fourth generation family operated working farm. And I've gotten to know Nicole and know that she's very passionate about what she does, and she's so interesting to listen to. So yeah, she also, is very knowledgeable and has, she did a class at Elevate and was teaching the kids and stuff. And so yeah, we are really excited to have you here with us and excited to hear your story.
Well, thanks for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to share.
She'll do most of the talking.
Well, and I will share, being Mike kind of shared about the Clemensons, is that both Neil and I also graduated from Lincoln High School. We're not going to share our years like they did, but we're older. That's good. And so far, 4 of our 5 children have graduated from Lincoln High School as well. So we're rooted in this community, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. This is really a good opportunity for us to kind of revisit how far we've come. I guess I learned a lot in this process myself, because I looked back at records, and I don't often look back at records. They're kind of just there in case I need them. And we started in 2011. Was basically the start. It wasn't a business when we started it. We literally tore down a building on our farm, and there was good dirt there. And so we had a 50 by 60 foot garden, and we threw some seed in the ground, and in spite of us, it grew. And then we had way more than we could use and eat. And at that time, Kim Swanson was at the extension office, and Neil was in there, and she said, well, bring it to farmer's market and sell it. And seriously, we went to farmer's market, and I'm not kidding. I really think the first couple of years we were at the farmer's market, people just pity bought from us because it was bad. We were not, oh my gosh. When I think about how we started and where we are now, I just want to cry, because I'm like, I'm sure they thought, those 2 ding-dongs, what are they doing?
Well, you have to realize that Nicole learned all her gardening skills from her mother.
Which my mom does not do. My mom used a lawnmower to weed the garden. So that, yeah, it was a total learning experience for me. Neil had a great set of parents. However, my parents were very good with business. My mom ran a successful business in Thief River, Anderson Realty, and my father had Anderson Power and Equipment in the Hardware Hank store for many, many years. So we did have good mentors there. From there on, we kind of took off. The next year, 2012, we tilled up Neil's. We live on Neil's parents and grandparents' farm. And so the second year, we tilled up Grandma Maxine's old garden spot. And so that added a 60 by 110 garden. So we had those 2 gardens, and we did the whole farmers market season. We were pretty excited. We made it through the whole season. In 2013, then we still had those 2 gardens, and we started doing value added products, salsas, jams, jellies, those kinds of things. In 2014, then we added our first high tunnel. If you're not familiar what a high tunnel is, ours are 26 feet wide by 96 feet long and 12 inches high. It's
12 feet high.
12 feet high. Sorry, everything's feet. See, I'm tired. And it's covered with a big, huge piece of plastic that helps us extend the season on the front end and on the back end. It has allowed us to put strawberries in and keep them protected from bugs and weather, mostly weather. Rain is not good for strawberries. Makes them mushy. So that was kind of a big thing that we did there. In 2015, we added a second high tunnel, which really helped. And we added 2 acres of outside gardens at that point in time. That was, oh yes. And in 2015, we planted asparagus, which when you plant asparagus, you have to wait 2 years to harvest it. So those are some things that you don't know when you're starting to grow, but then you learn. In 2016, we started our first CSA. And what CSA is, it's called Community Supported Agriculture. We offer so many spots a year, and each week, well, you pay ahead of time. In fact, everyone's paying kind of right now. I was just getting a few last checks in the mail this week. They pay ahead of time, and then each week for 10 weeks during the season, they get a box of vegetables of whatever is available in season. They don't get to pick. It's pre-boxed. This is what you get, and that's been a really good thing. We do it 10, like I said, 10 weeks.
10
There's
weeks.
others in the area that do it longer. That's what works for us. We still have one in high school, and we're busy and running with him, and so that's what works good for us. It's also a little seed money at the beginning of the year, and literally it is seed money because I spend it on buying all the seeds that I buy. Also in 2016, we added 3 more acres of gardens outside, and it was our very first year. If you've ever been in front of Hometown Realty, where the pumpkin trailer is, that's our pumpkin trailer. 2016 was the first year we did this, and we had a teeny tiny trailer. And we bolted a box on there, and people just self-pay, and it went crazy. And
it was a single axle trailer. Darn, you know how that goes, pulling that down the road in the middle of the night. Yeah, that was quite an adventure for a couple of years.
Yeah, so we used that one for a couple of years, and then in 2017 we were so excited. We had our first asparagus harvest, and that went over very well. 2018 we added a 3rd high tunnel. And those are a lot of work. We build them ourselves. We hire someone out to do the leveling work and make sure everything's all square and level, and then we construct them ourselves. So it's been I've been learning engineering, I've been learning construction, I've been learning planting. It's kind of crazy. We also then in 2018 upgraded our trailer because that was a pretty teeny tiny trailer that we were using at the beginning. And so the trailer we have now, we call the big pumpkin trailer. And then 2019, we added a 4th high tunnel. We also started setting up on Wednesday nights in front of Hometown Realty to sell, in addition to Saturday mornings at the farmer's market. And that's been a good thing. That's also the day that we have our CSA customers stop and pick up their CSA boxes on that evening. And we launched a website in 2019, and I had no clue what I was doing with it, so I did not much with it. However, in 2020, the world changed. The world changed big time. And I started telling people, hey, we have this website you could order vegetables on. You can pay with your credit card, you can pay it cash when you pick up. And it totally changed. It's totally changed what we do and how we do it.
Yeah, before we never, once fall hit October, we were done. Business pretty much stopped. Now we still deliver
weekly
into
every
town in
Wednesday.
canned goods.
There's always someone ordering canned goods, even throughout the kind of our what we called our dead season. We haven't really had a dead season we haven't been dead since I think February of 2019. It's just been steady, which has been a really good thing for our farm. And then we also added 5 more acres of outside garden last year as well. We have a lot of outside. Much of that is taken up with squash and pumpkins. Pumpkins are a huge part of what we do, and I think it's because lots of people like to decorate and create make jack-o'-lanterns, and we literally just pull that trailer in, set it up in front of Hometown Realty. And last year, I think, Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, they were calling you early.
Oh yeah.
Ask if the trailer was out, and I'm like, they're not ready. So we feel like we've kind of hit that niche right there with the pumpkins. And people do, I always have people say, oh, we got pumpkins from you. Even like at Christmas time, they're telling me about their pumpkins. So That's been kind of fun. We haven't really had like official mentors except for like my parents and what you remember from your parents. But I will say, at farmers market, I don't know if any of you remember Roger Tunberg. He was an amazing guy. He would come every Saturday and he'd say, now kids, you remember, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think he told us that every Saturday. And we love him dearly and we miss him dearly. But it's a good thing to know for your little business that if you're not growing, you're dying. And it kind of fit with what we did too. So that's kind of,
You know, and another thing that, you know, we hear from Cecil, and I think Darwin's living it too. If you gotta let your business grow your business. I mean, that's a key thing, you know, just let your business keep growing and keep growing your business.
yeah. I can honestly say the success that we've had is due to the relationships we have. Angie was talking with Darwin about advertising. We don't do a lot of advertising other than social media. We have Facebook and we have Instagram because that's about all I can keep up with. I'm not even very good at those on our River Falls Ranch page in the winter because there isn't a whole lot going on. But we do that, and then we're kind of out and about, and literally the relationships we make through the community, through the things we're involved in. Like Kelsey said, she kind of heard about it. We sometimes are in the same CrossFit class, and that's kind of where I've talked with Kelsey, those kinds of things. Also, I can just say our customers are amazing. We have the most amazing customers. In fact, one time we even got a sample from a customer. She had showed this recipe on her page, and I had said, hey, I really like that. Can you drop me off the recipe on Saturday? And not only did she bring me the recipe because it was full of vegetables, she brought me a sample. So like I say, we have the best customers. Absolute best. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, I mean, this is you know, this takes up a lot of time this summertime, plus the 1,000 acres that we do farm and everything else that we're doing, running to meetings and other jobs that we try to maintain in the summertime also. And, you know, it's always nice to have help. We've been very fortunate to have Nicole's dad help our kids. You know, and we're out of cows now, so I guess that means we have to increase the vegetables a little bit more. So, yeah.
I'm not sure what else you want from us, but that's
great.
Nutshell.
You've had quite the journey from where you started to where you are now, because obviously I've known you my whole life pretty much, but seeing your transition to how you are now versus even when you started, even your CSA boxes. I was, you know, I did your CSA your first year that you had it, and
yeah,
your first year of trying to figure it out to where you're at now, you know.
Yes, like I said, we have amazing customers. See,
yeah,
she's still talking to me. Like every time you start something, it's kind of a learning process. And actually, the CSA started because I had a couple customers ask me to do it. I was very hesitant. It's still a very nerve-wracking thing for me because I don't really want things to be nice and I want people's expectations to be met. And so that was really our learning year, and we have really fine-tuned it since then. And I'm glad we kind of stuck with it. We are just about full for this year. I think we have one spot left. So I kind of limit that because I am so particular. Maybe I shouldn't be.
And every week it's a challenge. What are we going to put in the box this week? You know, and every week I don't think you have anything ready, and every week there's always something ready.
Or more.
You might get a lot of something, you know, and it might be something that you have to, something different.
Well, and you usually either post recipes or sometimes you put recipes in with the box too.
I do every week. I put a little newsletter in the CSA boxes about what's in their box. I include at least 2 recipes of how to use some of the things in their box, and I usually try to give them a heads up for what's coming up. A lot of people will just take that box with them to the lake, and that's why we do Wednesday nights, so that they can get whatever groceries they need on Thursday and Friday before they take off, or if they're leaving Thursday night, that gives them Thursday to gather whatever. If there's some recipe they want to try and they don't have all the ingredients, at least they have a day or 2 to get those. that's kind of how that works. With the CSA, we have an agreement. You pay up front, and you take as much as farming is risky. We are a little different than like some service businesses or some retail businesses, because you get your product in and you have your product. We have to produce the product that we're selling, and that's kind of weather dependent. So sometimes things grow really good and sometimes they don't. It's just what happens. Or I might get seeds that don't germinate as well as they did last year. And so when they sign that membership agreement, they understand that they are part of the risk, but they are also part of the bounty. And if we have crop failure with beets, you won't get any beets this year. Otherwise, if we have abundance of beets, you'll get an abundance of beets. That's kind of how it works, and that's what everybody agrees to at the beginning of this season.
Right. So what you said that, I mean, I know that you and I have talked several times about this, about your website, and I kind of helped, troubleshoot when it was first starting. I mean, that was an awesome idea. You don't hear that a lot or see that a lot of farmers that have a website that you can order from. So what got you started with that?
Honestly, this company, it's called Barn to Door. That's the company. And if you look on our website, it says Barn to Door on there, as well as riverfallsranch.com. They contacted us and said, hey, we saw your Facebook page. You have beautiful produce. You have great pictures. You look like a client that could really use this. And so I said, okay, what pitch is this? Well, then I started talking with them more, and it's beautiful. It was so sweet. They set it all up. I just sent them the pictures. And from working at the Realty, I work with Angie at Hometown Realty, and I worked at Anderson Realty when my mother was the broker. I know how expensive websites are, and this one was very reasonable. This is the niche that website company fits, and it really fit what we do. You can go online, you can order, like I said, you can pay with credit card. It's simple. I can use it from my phone out in the field to update inventory. Yeah, that's how we got started in it. And at first I was hesitant, but then I was so glad we had it once COVID hit, because that was the way to go. People would drive up on Wednesday nights and I'd hand them their bag, and they can pick up at farmers market. We are trying to get a place in Red Lake Falls set up for a drop site, so that we can expand to that area. That's just because we have a website. I don't think we would be thinking about that if we didn't.
And one of the things that helps is that the farmers market is probably 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, we Nicole got a Square reader for her phone, and we were able to take credit and debit cards, and that really helps. We've
tried to diversify this little, what we do in agriculture terms is called specialty crops. That's what we do, is we do the specialty crops. And then with that, we try to diversify into some of those jams and jellies and the canned goods and the value added things. I also dehydrate things for sale too. So we just kind of try to make it all work.
I've been trying to get her a bus driving job for a couple of years, but she won't take it.
Bring your vegetables along your route.
Yeah.
Neil and Nicole, I just have to say, I am so impressed by so many things that you shared today and so many of the things that you said. It's just been delightful hearing your story. One of the things I guess I would it's just a kind of a simple question, but I see you both as very entrepreneurial. I mean, there's just new things coming all the time, and you can hear that as you're listening to your story. So what do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Do you want to answer that first, and then I can?
Well, I'd say number one, Michelle, it's the people we meet. I've always been self-employed, so this is the next step. I've been farming since 1979. So this is something new. This is really a learning experience for both of us, from someone that said she was never going to marry a farmer to now she is one, to learning. And there's not a lot of information here for vegetable growers in this part of the community. I mean, I work with an agronomist for my grain crops and a vet for when we had cattle. You know, those people, they knew but nobody knows vegetables. We had a great one at the extension in Howard Pearson. You know, he's gone now, but you know, he was that was probably my mentor for that. But yeah, it's mainly it's the people we meet.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is it's the relationships. It's all the relationships. I'm surprised when I run into people in, you know, like in the dead of January, and they're like, oh, we can't wait to see you this spring. And they're all excited. And that gets me a little more excited too. I like that. One thing I don't think that people realize though, also with an agriculture based business, is that normal businesses, retail, those kinds of things, they kind of have a steady upward growth. That's very typical. In an agriculture-based type of business, it's more like steps. You're very flat for a few years, and then you'll have a big jump, and then you'll be flat, and then you'll have a big jump, and then you'll be flat. And that is what we have totally found to be 100% true with our business. So we kind of feel like we're doing the right things in the right sequence to keep that. It's hard when you stay flat for a couple of years. It gets to be a struggle, and that's kind of why I think we just kind of try to keep things new and different around here.
Yeah, and we're, you know, back to what Cecil said, we're letting the business grow our business. We have the 5th high tunnel is sitting in the shed ready to be put up once we can get the ground prepped.
It's
Wow.
a mental illness, I swear. It's a mental illness.
Well, I'm hearing persistence and
Yeah.
people and
I call it grit, but you can call it persistence. I'm like, I just have to grit myself through this. Yeah.
And the people element, I think we, you know, sometimes we forget about in business, but literally, you know, we're selling stuff, whether it's services or products, to people. And so, you know, the better as businesses we can connect to people and understand the importance and the power of people, I think the more success there are. You guys are living proof of that.
The other thing I would, if someone's starting one, is try and make some other business connections. Like, okay, my mother owned Anderson Realty and Angie purchased it. And so I was like, Angie, can I still set up in your parking lot? And she's like, yes, absolutely. It benefits us because we have a place to set up during the week. It benefits her because she gets a lot of free advertising with our customers. Because I'm always saying, hey, we're at Hometown Realty. Hey, we're at Hometown Realty. Hey, we're at Hometown Realty. And it gets them to stop in our parking lot. Finding those, especially in our small community, we have to partner together. We have to. We're just too small. We are not big. No one can do it alone here. And that's, I think we've been pretty good. We've been asked many times. We did set up in front of Total Betty one time. They called and asked if we would do that. And we've set up in front of Michael's Meats. We just, you know, we can't do it all the time because we don't have any employees yet. So it's a lot of time on our hands to go and set up or away from doing some work here. But we try. That's kind of how that works. And just so everybody knows too, I did not start, my father worked in agriculture, but yeah, I was never going to marry a farmer. And I actually taught school for 16 years before I switched and did some other things and then fell into this. So that's what I think. I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that do that start off with one thing and then end up finding something else.